Senator Smith.
Thank you very much, Mr President. My question is to the Assistant Minister for Social Services, Senator Fifield. Will the minister inform the Senate of the benefits of the China-Australia Free Trade Agreement for Australian aged care service providers?
Order. The Assistant Minister for Social Services, Senator Fifield. On my left, Minister.
Thanks, Mr President, and thank you, Senator Smith, for your deep interest in aged care and also particularly for organising a terrific series of visits and meetings on aged care in regional Western Australia last week. Mr President, the Free Trade Agreement has secured, I'm very pleased to advise, the best ever market access provided to a foreign country by China on services. As Minister Robb has said, when it comes to services, this is the best ever deal China has done by a country mile. China, like our own population, is ageing. By 2025, it's expected that there will be 300 million people aged over 60 in China. Compare this to our own consumers, where by 2020 it's expected that there will be 1.6 million Australians over 65 who will need some form of care. This is an unprecedented opportunity for Australian aged care providers to access the world's second largest economy and its huge potential in aged care and health. The agreement permits the establishment of wholly Australian-owned hospitals and aged care services in China. It's a once-in-a-generation opportunity for our aged care industry. It demonstrates that there's demand in China for our training that we can provide in management, nursing, gerontology, personal care, reablement and facilities management. Australian aged care providers are keen to sell their services and experience to China. Australian facility managers, property developers and architects are keen to sell their operational and design expertise. Mr President, this is an opportunity that we can't afford to let go begging. And also, Australian universities and RTOs are keen to sell education and training services for all levels of aged care, both in China but also
Thank you,
from
Minister.
Australia.
The time for answering the question has expired. Senator Smith, supplementary question.
Thank you, Mr President. A supplementary question. Will the minister inform the Senate how the government is realising the potential benefits of the landmark opportunity for the aged care services sector?
Minister.
Mr President, in November this year, Austrade, in collaboration with China's national peak body for aged care and health industries, will launch the first Australia-China International Aged Care Summit. The summit will showcase Australian aged care capabilities and it will facilitate bilateral engagement to support commercial opportunities and potential collaborations. Providers who participate will obviously be able to build up some contacts, some business opportunities and to meet potential joint venture partners. This will also benefit from government access and on-the-ground assistance from the Austrade team in China. As we know, the former Prime Minister Bob Hawke is a huge fan of this agreement. We've heard much of Simon Crean and Martin Ferguson and a galaxy of Labor premiers, but we should not neglect Senator Conroy's former staff member and his protege, the Victorian Trade Minister Phil Dalladakis.
Thank you,
Even
Minister.
he is
the
in
time for
favour.
answering the question has expired. Senator Smith, final supplementary question.
Thank you, Mr President. A final supplementary. Will the minister advise the Senate how...
Order on my left.
Will the minister advise the Senate how China can benefit from the experience of Australia's world-class aged care sector?
Minister.
Thanks, Mr President. The ageing of the population and how best to provide support and care to the elderly is a major policy issue in China. There's already rapid expansion of aged care services in China. Both the Chinese national government and the provincial governments know that a lot more is needed to meet the future demand that they have. The Chinese government recognises that Australia has a well-established world-class aged care system, a world-class aged care sector, and that we are in a terrific position to help the Chinese with the fabulous challenge that is a population that is living longer and living better. China is very keen to establish a government-to-government dialogue to learn from us. But also importantly, I think in these arrangements we need to be very open to learning from the Chinese as well. Mr President, the Australian Labor Party should put politics aside and get on board.
Thank you, Minister. Senator Lambie.